All right, good evening and welcome to Breaking Today. My name is Frederick Muitiriri and my sign language interpreter tonight is Michael Maidia. These are the highlights. Two retired Chief Justices ask Parliament to impeach President Uhuru Kenyatta for disregarding the Constitution of Kenya. Education CS Professor George Magoha has insisted on the payment of fees by parents. And President Uhuru Kenyatta wants leaders who are propagating inter-clan conflicts in the country. All right, welcome to the broadcast. Now, two former Chief Justices, David Maraga and Dr. Willie Mutunga, have blasted President Uhuru Kenyatta for rejecting the appointment of the 6 judges recommended by the Judicial Service Commission, JSC. Maraga and Mutunga have called on Parliament to impeach President Uhuru Kenyatta for disregarding the Constitution of Kenya, saying the country is slowly descending into a banana republic. Daniel Kariuki with more.
Immediate retired Chief Justice David Maraga has publicly disagreed with President Uhuru Kenyatta's failure to appoint the 6 judges. This coming after the president rejected to appoint the 6 judges as recommended by the Judicial Service Commission, adding that the move is likely to ruin their careers. The retired CJ insisting Uhuru was wrong to reject the names of the 6 judges, adding that the names first given to the Judicial Service Commission of appointees whose integrity was being questioned by the executive had been changed.
The names have changed.
All of them?
Those who know, those who were said to have issues, and some have been added now to that. To that list, and others have been removed from that list. The bona fides of the allegation.
Yeah.
If it was a bona fide allegation, why is this shift?
Barely months after Maraga retired and silently kept off from the public eye, he claims that he could no longer keep quiet where the country slid into anarchy. Maraga, who in his term was at loggerheads with President Uhuru Kenyatta since he nullified the 2017 general elections, says he will remember the president come his retirement next year as being a president who never obeyed the rule of law. Emerita CJ Maraga also foreshadowing a deadly electioneering year brought about by what he terms a selective application of the law, referring to the government's response to meetings held by different functions of the political scope in the country, claiming some factions are being allowed to hold meetings while some being halted. The latest being former Agriculture CS Mwangi Kiunjuri's event being stopped by the police. Speaking during an interview with a local TV station, the CJ also says he agrees with his predecessor Willie Mutunga's letter to Uhuru, criticizing him for failing to appoint the 6 judges. In an open letter to the head of state, Mutunga said that the president's objection to the 6 judges' nomination was driven by personal resentment and not principle. Kenyans have, however, shared mixed reactions, claiming the country is no longer democratic enough.
Uhuru Kenyatta yeye mwenyewe anafaa angalie pande mbili zote, pia anafaa angalie nini wa Kenya na angalie pia huko juu, kwa sababu majaji wana shida. Walikuwa against FBI na FBI pia inaumiza wa Kenya pande moja, unaona?
Yeye ako tu sawa, yeye afanye tu kazi yake venye anaweza fanya, lakini si kila mtu mpaka apate kazi.
Maraga's sentiments come barely a week after President gazetted the appointment of the 34 out of 41 judges who were nominated by the Judicial Service Commission in 2018. The 2 judicial lords who both reigned during the term of President Uhuru Kenyatta, notwithstanding the fact that one nullified his election and one passed it, have in togetherness agreed that the president has disregarded the rule of law in rejecting the appointment of the 6 judges. Daniel Kariuki for Switch TV, Nairobi County.
All right, and from that story by Daniel Kariuki, where 2 former Chief Justices have said that the president should be impeached by Parliament, we are asking, should the president be impeached for disregarding the Constitution of Kenya? According to former Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga, should the president be impeached for disregarding the Constitution of Kenya? According to former Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga, you can talk to us via SMS line that is on 111 444 111 or on our social media handles that is at Switch TV Kenya, at Fred Muitiriri. Now, moving on. Members of Parliament now want the National Treasury to come up with a long-term solution to the issue of pending bills, as it is one of the leading reasons for the ballooning public debt in the run-up to tomorrow's budget reading. The legislators have noted that the pending bills are not only affecting suppliers' businesses, but also affecting their personal lives. Our reporter Caroline Soma has the story.
As Kenyans await for the budget to be revealed tomorrow, members of parliament have today requested the National Treasury to clear the 307.8 billion Kenya shillings of pending bills the national government owes suppliers who have supplied the national government.
And our problem of debt, Mr. Speaker, it's not in fact the borrowing. Our problem of debt is a deficit. You see, the problem is the moment we have a huge deficit, from 500 billion, 600 billion, today we are at close to 1 trillion. The moment you have a deficit, then you will be forced to borrow.
According to Labour and Social Welfare National Assembly Committee Chairperson Honorable Wachira Josephat Kabinga, most Kenyans who have supplied to the government now face the threat of being auctioned and eventually affecting both their business and lives.
Outstanding bills have been a thorn in the flesh for many of the Kenyans who genuinely did jobs in this country. It's a high time the Treasury and the committee come up with a lasting solution to end this issue once and for all, so that year by year we do not have this item in our budget, Honorable Speaker.
Kenyans, on the other hand, also expressed their expectations on the government to manage the public debt situation while at the same time not taxing them more.
Pesa itakopwa, walete infrastructure ambayo itaweza kulipa ile deni. So walete ile program ambayo itaweza kuletea mwananchi low reduction, tax reduction iwe chini.
Lazima kutakuwa na mabadiliko kulingana na mahitaji ya serikali. Tupinge tusipinge, ile kitu serikali imepitisha. Sisi mwananchi wa chini hatuna nguvu. Kitu mimi naomba wajari mwananchi wa chini.
Hii budget venye unaona hivyo ishachorwa na kila kitu iko venye iko. What I'm seeing is the government has imeshughulikia sana these ambiguous projects zinakula pesa mingi sana. Unapata project inakula around 200 billion. Project yenye inachukua miaka karibu 5 ndio hiyo project imalizike. So what I can insist on, what I can tell this government to do, the biggest projects wanafanya, they can put them on hold, tumalizana na hii budget ya 3.6 billion, tuone mali serikali inaweza enda.
The national government cleared 14.7 billion Kenya shillings of pending bills between January and March this year, lowering the total outstanding national government pending bills as of March 31st to 307.8 billion Kenya shillings from 322.5 billion Kenya shillings at the end of last year. All eyes are now on CS Treasury Ukur Yatani as he is expected to reveal the national budget as of the year 2021-2022 tomorrow. Caroline Suma, Switch TV.
From that story, now we go to where Council of Governors is lamenting the delayed disbursement of a whopping 105.9 billion Kenya shillings of the county equitable share of revenue. As Joel Chacha is reporting, it is said to have paralyzed activities in the counties.
Being 3 weeks to the end of the financial year, the total outstanding amount owed to county governments is now the ball of contention.
The negative impact of this has been to paralyze various activities in the counties in the following ways. One, it has slowed implementation of development projects. It has equally slowed the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. 3, it has led to accumulation of pending bills. 4, it has delayed the payment of salaries of all the county staff. We call upon the National Treasury to expedite the release of these funds as county governments are grinding to a halt.
During the media address, COG Chairperson Martin Wambora also weighed in on Wajir power struggle, saying they recognize impeached Governor Abdi Mohamud as the governor for Wajir County.
Yes, it's true. There is an acting governor in Wajir, And we have our own Governor, Ambassador Mahmoud, who is now camping in Nairobi. We are waiting for, he's waiting for the three judge bench so that his case can be heard. And it has a very high probability of success.
Joel Chacha, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Now, the Kisumu County Assembly has adjourned sittings for 2 weeks to ensure compliance with COVID-19 protocols following a surge of COVID-19 cases. Today, Kisumu has recorded 100 positive cases as the county committee recommends a crackdown on non-compliant residents and business owners. Our reporter Harry Chimea has more.
As the country continues to grapple with COVID-19, with 589 new cases today, counties in the Nyanza region are recording high numbers, a crisis that has led to the adjournment of assembly sittings in Kisumu County for the next 2 weeks. Today, counties that have recorded the highest cases include Kisumu with 100 cases, Nairobi 91, Bungoma 60, Homa Bay 54, Siaya 49, Uasin Gishu 37 and Busia 32 cases, as fear continues to rise with current infections presenting more severe symptoms than earlier cases. Council of Governors have urged residents of Kisumu County, among other 10 neighboring counties, to ensure strict adherence to laid down protocol.
As of now, we would discourage lockdown, honestly. It is causing a lot of damage to the economic sector, and it still doesn't help much.
The Council of Governors have also stated that despite an increase of COVID-19 positive cases, there has been a decrease of admissions in hospitals.
There is a decrease of admissions in the hospitals, as indicated by our sampled 26 counties as follows. Isolation beds, in the last week, the total number of available beds in the isolation center was down by 138 beds to 5,922, meaning there is improvement. As for ICU beds, in the last week, the total number of ICU beds available was 1,184. While this week, the number of available beds is 188, a decrease by 6 beds.
With 312 recoveries and 19 deaths recorded today, Kenya is expecting a brigade of 101 Cuban doctors, a move that is set to see Kenya's primary health care improve. As of today, a total of 1,030,445 people have been vaccinated, with 979,955 people having received the first dose and 50,490 having received the second dose. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Harriet Chimea.
In other news, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has insisted on the payment of school fees by parents in order to facilitate learning in schools. The CS has also warned primary and secondary schools head not to harass those unable to pay the fees. Magoha also has laid emphasis on the competence-based curriculum CBC during the launch of one of its concepts on physical education at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, KICD. He added that children should have a space where they can explore physical education and learn on its benefits.
To challenge the teachers and my officers in the field, particularly quality assurance represented here by my very able director, Dr. Mary Gaturu. What the hell is going on? Because we are not reinventing a wheel here. Speaking as a physician, I want to tell you that when the blood flows faster among the children, the heart works better, the muscle works better, the brain works better, and the children are able to understand better. So you cannot say that, oh, this is PE, but it is academic PE. Which academic PE? You must move. So even as we go into this policy, it should be very clear to everybody that it is not the policy that is going to drive the change that His Excellency the President wants in the competency-based curriculum. It is we, the implementers, that have to implement this policy in order for it to work.
All right, we are now taking a short commercial break, but before we do that, I'm asking you, should the president be impeached for disregarding the Constitution of Kenya? According to former Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga, should the president be impeached for disregarding the Constitution of Kenya? According to former Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga. Talk to us on SMS 111 444 111 or on our social media handles, that is at Switch TV Kenya, at Fred Muitiri. We'll be back with more in a short while. All right, welcome back. Earlier on, I asked you if the president should be impeached, and some of the feedback that I'm receiving, the president deserves to be impeached, but he won't be impeached since he has both houses of legislature in his palm. All right, somebody else is saying, okay, let me see what you are saying. You are saying the president should be impeached. The president should be impeached. That is Maina Irongo. Edgar Imbwenya, you are saying, in Kenya, this same Kenya, it will not happen. Okay, let's move on. I'll keep reading some of your feedback that is coming in through 111 444 111 at Fred Mutiriri at Switch TV Kenya. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has warned leaders who are propagating interclan conflicts in the country. The head of state has said this during an event at the Regional Police Traffic Training Center in Ngong, Kajiado County, where he set ablaze 5,144 illicit small arms and light weapons, as Namukana Samuel is reporting.
A majority of the illegal firearms were voluntarily surrendered by the public who heeded to government's amnesty offers and through the diligence of Kenya's security agencies. The exercise led by President Uhuru Kenyatta saw over 5,000 illegal firearms destroyed.
The task of a peaceful and secure Kenya is a responsibility of each and every Kenyan. And I urge you all in your own roles and space to make a conscientious effort to make our country, our republic, more safe and more secure and 100% free of illegal weapons.
The majority of the weapons recovered, according to the head of state, appeared to have been assembled locally at home. President Uhuru Kenyatta has thrown an offer to all who have been involved in making of these firearms to surrender, adding that they will be given a job at the Ruiru Firearms Factory.
I am really glad to note that the majority of the illegal firearms that I'm mentioning today were voluntarily surrendered by members of the public who heeded our various amnesty programs and calls for community disarmament, and a large number of those weapons were also recovered through the diligence of our security organs.
This is after the head of state launched a small arms factory in Ruiru, Kiambu County, with a single-shift annual production capacity of 12,000 assault rifles. This was part of a broad multi-agency national security industries strategy.
Kenya's recovery of illicit small arms and light weapons is in tandem with the African Union's call for silencing the guns in Africa by the year 2020. Although this AU target has not been fully achieved by the deadline that we set for ourselves, individual countries, including our own Kenya, have made excellent progress towards that goal.
For the past few years, the Commander-in-Chief has been seen banning several illicit and illegal products as a sign of being on the front line on the fight against the products. The illegal 5,144 firearms were drawn mostly from the northern and the eastern side of the country. Namukana Samuel, Switch TV, Nairobi.
All right, now a requiem mass was held earlier today in honor of the late former Kibwezi MP Richard Kalembe Ndile at St. Veronica Catholic Church in Syokimau, Machakos County. Kalembe died a week ago after struggling with a long illness. Kalembe will be laid to rest on Friday in Buinzau, Kibwezi, Makueni County. He was elected Kibwezi Member of Parliament in 2003 before being appointed Assistant Minister for Tourism and Wildlife between 2006 and 2007. The family members have eulogized the fallen former Assistant Minister as a dedicated leader who embraced family unity. A second requiem mass is set for Thursday this week ahead of his burial.
Akaanza kuwa na problem. Sasa alikuwa macho yake ameanza kuwa yellow. Alikuwa na problem ya figo. Na hiyo figo pia ilikuwa imeanza kufuja some waste. Wale madaktari wakatuambia sasa bibi yake asign ndio kuna pipe inawekwa. Unaenda kutoboa kashimo ndio system iwe continuous. Ilikuwa imeblock. Kitu saa 12, saa 11 hivi ndio tukaitwa. Tukaenda kwa room nyingine pale, daktari akakuja. Mimi nilipoona vile daktari anakuja hivi na nurse anabeba file, nikasema Mungu wangu. Hapo sasa ndio akatuelezea mheshimiwa.
It's time for business, where national carrier Kenya Airways has picked a UK consultancy firm, Steer Group, to guide it on the most viable turnaround strategy options in the face of deepening financial losses and depressed passenger numbers. KQ Chief Executive Officer Alan Kilavuka has said the London-based firm took up the assignment in May and will be retained for 3 months. Crafting a viable turnaround strategy for KQ was one of the conditions for the 255 billion shillings loan to the Kenyan government from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, in March this year. President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged the Ethiopian government to consider opening up opportunities for more mobile money services in a spirited campaign to drum up support for Safaricom's entry into Ethiopia. Safaricom CEO Peter Ndegwa on his side has said that Safaricom's entry to the Ethiopian would allow the extension of M-Pesa services into the market of more than 110 million people and will boost the country's economy and widen access to financial services. A Safaricom-led consortium has won a 91.8 billion shillings license to enter Ethiopia's underserved telecoms market and will end the monopoly of the state-owned Ethio Telecom. Safaricom will now have a 56% stake in the consortium.
Indications are that by opening your economy to Safaricom and its consortium members, Ethiopia will in the short and medium term add no less than 1.5 million formal jobs.
We leverage the power of mobile technology and combine it with innovation to transform lives in areas that matter most for the society, such as agriculture, health, and education.
All right, to matters technology, where artificial intelligence, AI, is making our devices more than just utilities. From smartphones to healthcare to autonomous cars, our very own Apollo James explains the potential of AI to make our lives easier and more exciting.
What exactly is artificial intelligence? We speak of AI when computer systems perform tasks that usually require human intelligence, and this includes recognizing images, making decisions, or engaging in dialogue. To do this, the AI equipment must be equipped with knowledge and experience. This can be achieved in two ways. You can program each individual instruction so that the machine solves the task step by step. This is comparable to a cooking recipe or assembly instructions. Alternatively, you can use programs that learn from data themselves. This enables them to detect relevant information, draw conclusions, or make predictions. This is known as machine learning. We all have probably dealt with AI at some point in our lives. When we watch films, listen to music, or shop online, AI gives us recommendations about what we might like. AI is a central component of robotics. Robots make our everyday lives easier or take on strenuous activities. Self-driving vehicles recognize their environment through AI and can react to it. AI is becoming increasingly important within medicine. It supports doctors while diagnosing diseases. Also, more and more patients use AI apps for initial diagnosis. In the educational sector, AI helps to individualize learning activities, for example, on digital learning platforms. AI is becoming increasingly important. Once we understand how AI works, we can gauge better where it can support everyday activities at home or at work, and where we would rather make our own decisions. AI will not replace humans, but it's getting better and better at supporting us. Apollo James, Switch TV.
Now it's time for sports. The 22nd edition of Lewa Marathon is set to take place virtually on the 26th of this month. Marathon world record holder and Lewa ambassador Eliud Kipchoge took part in a practice run in preparations for the 2021 virtual Lewa Safari Marathon and spoke on the impact of the race. Sazamunga has more.
The Lewa Wildlife Conservancy in northern Kenya is home to the annual Lewa Safari Marathon, and each year, participants share the reserve with wildlife. But the world's wildest challenge has again gone virtual due to COVID-19. After a practice run in the preparation, Eliud Kipchoge took time to learn more about the impact the last year's marathon had on the communities and wildlife surrounding the conservancy.
I think and I feel it's important to support Lewa Virtual Marathon every year. Reason number one is that it's one way of uplifting the rangers, one way of conserving the animals, one way of actually getting funds to Lewa Conservancy because their work is to empower the communities through education, empower women in businesses, actually take care of the whole community. So I'm here actually to make sure that Lewa has been giving a hand to the community, to the rangers, those people actually visiting, taking care of the animals. And I feel good when I hear that all things are on the right course.
For the second year running, the marathon will be held virtually, with organizers encouraging runners everywhere to lace up their shoes and join the challenge in support of the Kenyan communities and wildlife. Among those challenged by Kipchoge include Prince William and former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair. Runners can participate in the 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers, or the 42-kilometer categories.
Absolutely, yes. I want to challenge Prince William to run for this year for the Lewa Virtual Marathon in order for us to actually get what we want as far as Lewa is concerned. I always say we run as one, and Prince William should actually be included.
Co-organized by TAS Trust and Lewa and headline sponsored by the telecommunication giants Safaricom and Huawei, the unique marathon has raised millions of shillings to fund wildlife conservation and community development in Kenya over the last 21 years. Participation is free, but all runners are encouraged to donate whatever they can. Saza Munga, Switch TV.
Thank you, Sansa. Now, with 14 days left to the Maiden World Rally Championship kickoff at Naivasha, participants are getting their vehicles ready for the showdown that will bring on board the world's best manufacturers, inducing Red Bull, who recently unveiled their 8-man team led by 7-time world champion Sebastian Ogier. Our reporter Cedric Oronje compiled a report on the genesis of World WRC Rally and what it means to Kenyan drivers.
Correct. That is just a glimpse of what goes down in the world's hardest motorsport competition, popularly known as the World Rally Championship. Having kicked off 48 years ago without any formalized championship, the WRC board saw it wise to formalize the sport in 1973 after its Alpine A110 dominated at the hands of Jean-Claude Andouet, Jean-Pierre Nicolas and the late Frenchman Jean-Luc Thiers. However, here in Kenya, the rally was first held in 1953, dubbed the East African Coronation Safari, with Uganda and Tanganyika celebrating the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II that same year. As plans are underway to host the official FIA World Rally Championship in Kenya, Kenyan drivers attest that the rally will benefit the country's drivers big time.
WRC is actually, you can say it's like Premier League. They have the best equipment, best drivers, world-class everything. So competing against them is going to be very difficult, very challenging.
Very excited that WRC is back. Number one, there will be a lot of knowledge transfer from these drivers coming from elsewhere. Number two, there's a lot of exchange that we need to learn even from these people. How they drive, how they prepare their teams, how their teams are organized and so.
However, various stakeholders have expressed their interest in regards to the motorsport event, attracting partners on board, with the most recent one being Red Bull introducing their team for the race in Naivasha.
The rally and it's really driving on the limit, almost like circuit racing, but on open roads. And I think in Kenya going to be probably a little bit different. We're going to, I think, have to change our approach and be a bit more, let's say, clever.
Now, the Kenyan stage is set and geared up to witnessing the world's best manufacturers, not forgetting the world's best rally drivers in what motorsport lovers term as man's fine touch on the motorsport machine. Cedric Oronje, Switch TV.
And with that story from Cedric, I wrap up this bulletin. Many thanks for watching. My name is Frederick Mwitiriri. My sign language interpreter was Mike Omaidia. Do have yourself a good night.